Today we're just going to do a short little video on some hip mobility. We're going to use a TheraBand to open up our hips. If you've got a band, just every now and then cast your eye along the edges of them and make sure that there are no little tears in your band. If there's a little tear in your band, it's time for a new one, because once you put your foot in it and put some tension and load on it, it might break, and we don't want it to hit you in the face. If you haven't got a band, you could use something that replicates the band, a towel, dressing gown cord, a scarf, something similar like that. So we're going to have our band in our hand, close nearest to us, and we're going to lie down on our back. Once we're down on our back, we're going to have both knees bent, and we're going to take just a very short period to check in with ourselves. So we're just going to think about what's touching the mat and what isn't touching the mat. So my feet are nice and straight, they're in line with my hip bones. I can feel my pelvis on the mat, I can feel that there's a little arch underneath my back, shoulders are touching the mat, and so forth. We're going to recheck in with that on one side when we've opened up our hips a bit. We're going to take our little band and we're going to put our foot in it. So I suggest to make your band as flat as you can and to tuck it on the middle of your foot, in and around the arch of your foot. So nice and flat just makes it a little bit more comfortable. Got a bit of tension on the band, but you're not holding on for dear life. Okay, so a little bit of tension, and we've got our elbows resting down on the floor. It just gives us a bit of stability through our upper body. Your opposite leg is going to stretch out long and straight, and if you can, you're going to flex the foot of that opposite leg. You probably might lose that sort of connection as we go along, but if you can, you're going to try and flex the foot. That's going to help you work this leg a little bit, and it's going to help you stabilize that leg a little bit. So we're going to start with some leg circles. So we're going to take our leg across our body. You're going to feel that down through the outside of the hip. It's a bit of a stretch. You're going to take the leg down towards the bottom of the mat, but we're not quite touching the floor. And then you go out to the side nice and wide. As you take your leg across your body, you're still trying to keep your shoulders on the mat. So your upper body is still and your lower body is moving. So that leg that is in the band, the hip is lifting up off of the mat as you're going across your body, coming out towards the side, up to the top. When you're bringing your leg up towards the top and towards your face, the higher that leg is towards your face, the more intense that stretch is going to be, and it's also going to increase the intensity as you go across your body. So you want to feel a stretch, but you don't want it to be painful. So we're looking for some effective, efficient movement, as opposed to, making it super painful. It just depends on how tight you are in your hips. As you do the circle, you're just going to try and let it flow. Okay, so it's just a nice round circle. With your opposite leg, if your foot's still flexed, you should find that leg is nice and stable and it's still. So try not to let the other leg that's on the mat wobble around too much. When you get to the top of the next circle, you're going to change the direction. So you're going to reverse. So instead of going across your body, you're going to go out towards the side of your mat and down and back up. And again, nice and smooth, flowing, just gentle breathing. You're not holding your breath or anything here, and just letting that leg roll around in the hip socket joint. It's supported by the band, so the muscles are working slightly, but they're not working super hard. And we're getting a lovely length through our muscles as we do it. So we're going to do 2 more circles here. And then when you get to the top, you're going to hold your leg up towards the ceiling. So from here, you're going to gently push your heel to the ceiling and pull your toes towards your nose. That's going to stretch through the back of your calf, the bottom part of your leg. Then you're going to point your toes up towards the ceiling and see if you can let your foot come towards you a little bit more, and that's going to give you a hamstring stretch. So then we're going to change that again. We're going to pull our toes towards our nose and push our heel up, and you're going to feel that in the bottom part of your leg, your calf. And then you're going to point your toes towards the ceiling and just get that little bit of extra length in the hamstring if you can by pulling the leg towards you. So you're going to do about 3 or 4 of them. So toes to your nose, toes to the ceiling, and then 1 more each way, toes to your nose, toes to the ceiling. And then just gently untangle yourself out of the band, and then just stretch both legs out long and straight, and just feel the difference between your legs. So you may or may not be able to see it on the video, but my left leg is now longer. I was running this morning, so it's not unusual that my hips get tight when I run, so my left leg's now longer. The front of my thigh is flatter, More of my lower back is touching the mat compared to the opposite side where it's still quite lifted and quite tight through my hips and my lower back. So we've just used the band to stretch out our entire leg, including our lower back. We've got a bit of calf and hamstring stretch into that while we're there. Opposite leg's going to come into the band. Again, you're going to make it as flat as you can. Bit of tension into the band, not holding on super tight. Elbows down on the mat for me. Opposite leg stretches out. If you can, you're going to flex the foot of the opposite leg. We're flexing it just to engage the muscles in that opposite leg and try and keep it still. And then when you're ready, you're going to start your circles. You're going to go across your body. You go down towards the bottom of the mat, out to the side and up. Our shoulders are staying connected to the mat, so we're not letting our upper body move too much. As we bring our leg across our body, we're feeling our hip lift up off of the mat on that side. The further that foot comes towards your face when you're doing your circle, the more intense that stretch will be. You can back it off if you like. It doesn't need to be super intense. We're just looking for mobility in the hip. You're breathing as you go. Yes, you're concentrating on what you're doing, but we don't want to be holding our breath. Sometimes we hold our breath when we're concentrating. We're going to do just 2 more circles. You're looking for 8 to 12 on each side. So if you do this without the video, 8 to 12 on each side is ample. And then changing direction, going the other way. For a lot of people, the second direction that we work is a whole lot easier because the inner thigh muscle doesn't have to work as much. Both are important. We're trying to lengthen all the muscles in our leg. Muscles in our legs go into our lower back, and some of those muscles connect to, or our hip connect to our lower back and lumbar spine. And lumbar spine is the curved area of your back. Okay, let's just do 2 more here. And we're going to go into that hamstring calf stretch. So foot coming towards your face. Gently pull your toes towards your nose. Point your toes to the ceiling. Pull your toes to your nose. Point your toes to the ceiling. You can hold one of them in the position if you like. If you feel you need more calf stretch than hamstring stretch. Remember, when your toes are to the ceiling, it's the hamstring that you're looking for. A couple of breaths there. And then just gently untangle yourself out of the band. Stretch your leg out long and straight. Get the band out of the way for a minute. Feel both legs stretched out on the mat. Hopefully they should both be similar length now. More of your lower back in general should be touching the mat. While we're here, we're going to do a little glute stretch. So we're going to bring one of our legs up to 90 degrees. So I brought my left leg up to 90 degrees. I'm going to take my opposite hand. So because my left leg's up, I'm going to use my right hand and I'm going to put it on the outside of my left knee. So my arm is across my body. My left arm, I'm just going to slide out on the floor for a bit of stability. And then I'm going to gently pull my left knee across my body. But I'm not rolling off of the mat. So I'm still using my other hand for a bit of stability. And you should feel that as a stretch down through your hip here. So we're just giving the glute a little bit more love while we're here. A couple of breaths. We're going to just untangle that. We're going to bring the opposite leg up to 90 degrees. We're going to take our other hand and put it on the outside of our knee, and we're just going to gently pull the knee across our body. Our shoulders are staying on the mat. Our other arm is out for a little bit of stability. We're going to breathe there. A couple of breaths. And you're going to glide your leg back into the center. You're going to bend your knees and bring feet back to the mat and knees and feet touching, just wherever it's comfortable. Doesn't matter if they're a bit further away, they could be a little bit closer to your hips and your backside, whatever's comfortable. Both arms are out on the floor, 45 degrees out from your hips, so you've taken them off of the mat and they're a little bit wider. Touching your knees together, not gluing them together, but just touching them together. Gently take both of them to one side. So I'm taking both of my knees to the right, so you can do the same, both knees to the right. You're going to let them go as far as you comfortably can, and you're going to look over your opposite shoulder. So we're just going into a nice big rotation through the lower back and the hips. And we're just going to breathe there for a second. So whichever way your knees are going, your gaze should be the opposite way. Okay, you're going to come back through the middle. You're going to squeeze your knees together. When you squeeze them together as you're coming back through the center, it's going to help you zip up through your midline. and then you're going to take them to the opposite direction. So both of my knees are going over towards my left, and I'm going to look out towards my right now. I'm just going to where it's comfortable. I'm just going to breathe into my ribs here, and let my lower back stretch out and relax. I'm going to do one more each way, so I'm going to squeeze my knees as I come through the middle, just to keep that midline connected. And then my knees are back to my right. Now, if you want to increase this stretch, just stretch your top leg out to be long, okay? So instead of both knees bent, my top leg is stretched out to be long. My bottom knee stays bent, and you're just going to increase the stretch a bit. If it's too much for you, just bend that top knee back and have both knees bent still. Okay, coming back into the middle, you're going to bend the knee, place again, both legs touching one on top of the other, changing sides, rotating over, gaze towards the opposite shoulder. Once you get into the position you're comfortable with, if you want to increase the stretch, you're going to stretch the top leg out to be straight. And again, you're breathing. One more breath. You bend your knees, bring them back into the middle. Relax there for a second if you like, stretch your legs out, should feel nice and lengthen through your lower limbs. Just a very short, quick little hip opening exercise. You might feel a few cracks in your back when you do it. It's just your spine, you know, just resettling itself and doing a little adjustment if the muscles have become a little relaxed. When you can stay there and just enjoy it. Or when you're ready to get up, the easiest way to get up is to roll onto your side. Bring your hand over in front of you, use your hand to gently push yourself up, and I suggest you just sit still for a minute. Sometimes when you get up after lying down on the mat, you can feel a little lightheaded, so just sit still for a minute, find yourself where you are in space, and then you can go about your day and enjoy. Thanks team, bye now.